Yeah.
Like if I try to do something, I always have to adjust it because I have just an extra 10 centimeters everywhere.
Everywhere. Nah, it's always going to be based on body type. And
hey, what's up, guys? In this episode, I'm going to talk with Kogar. He is a friend of mine. We train together, and he's a big inspiration for me. He got his purple belt in 3 years, and in this video, we're going to talk about how he thinks about training, how he visualizes, and a whole lot more. So, enjoy.
Nice. Was that you that made that video recently that Rhythm put up with all the triangles and the music?
Yeah, that was me.
That was sick.
Yeah, because apparently Josh was filming me. Yeah. And he was also filming like predictions, guys. Oh, and really? I saw that on my phone. That's cool. I was like, that's cool. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, that's because I couldn't figure out where it was, and I was like, oh, that's the boys, and I was like, that's a good little clip.
And so I recorded it. That's right, and then I made the voice a bit lower, and then the music hit. But I'm still figuring out how to edit that a bit cooler.
That'd be heaps good.
Could be really cool. Yeah, it's awesome that you want to be here.
Yeah, it's sick.
Really cool. Yeah. Especially because we train together, and you're like sort of when I started, like how the progress you've made, that was an inspiration for me. Because did you get your purple belt in 3 years of training? Is that right?
Yeah, like pretty much right on 3 years, I think. That's when Ryan gave me a purple belt. Like I think I was at or maybe less. Maybe it was 2.5 years. No, it was 3 years because I just left like the gym I started at where I got my blue belt, and then I think I was at Rhythm for about 4 or 5 months, and then Ryan's like, "It's time that you need to be purple belt," and then.
Yeah, what do you think was the reason that you could grow so quickly from like?
I don't know. The way I remember stuff is just like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, because the more you can remember, like, the more you can do when you're actually like fighting. So you just like, the more you can remember under like that stress of actual you're rolling, the better you are. Like that's all it is. It's just having an answer to the problem, but. I remember easily by like if I can read something and visualize it, I remember it that way. So then jiu-jitsu is so easy because you get to like look at something, you see it, but then you can actually feel it and do it. And then I'm just like, it's just easy for me to remember like techniques and then the more you know, the easier it is to remember because you just add in little parts of something you already know. So I think that's like the way I've just been able to just continue and progress, and then as I've been getting better, it's just like easier to get better that way.
That's such a superpower.
Happens like it just gets quicker. Like I feel like I'm getting better quicker every day. Like I still feel like I'm progressing like more and more like
really
as I get better. Yeah.
Is it because the puzzle like that jiu-jitsu is, and then you see from far away, you see the picture better, like, oh, this is jiu-jitsu, and every time now you're training still, like another piece falls in place.
Yeah, it's just more and more and more detail of like one piece of whatever it is. It's just adding more layers to it. That's all it feels like now. It's like it's adding layers to the big pieces.
I can relate to that because in the beginning when I started, like the first 5 months, it was just a big mess of all these different positions.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, you have the back, the front, the side, different positions, and then from there you have attacks, defense, and then sort of that's it. And then you build from there, and then there are so many other things.
It just goes infinite, yeah.
But when you have that base, then it's like, oh, you talk about this, so you go from there to there, and then it clicks.
Yeah. So it's just been doing that, and then I've really tried to just like change and not do any of the like bullshit that you see that's like all the crazy cool moves and stuff. I'm just like, nah, I don't even want to, like, it's cool to know it and practice and play with it, but I'm just like, that's not my focus at all. It's just like all like the stuff that you see the best guys doing. I'm just like, you may as well focus on that. That's like, it should be your base of where your skills are at. And then all the other stuff is just sort of play.
Who do you use as your main inspiration?
Not anyone in particular. I'll just see like techniques during when I'm watching footage or watching a competition, and I'll be like, oh, what was that? Like, who did that, or like who else has been doing that? And then I'll see the same. You start to see patterns, especially at the highest levels. Like you see patterns of what's happening, like what the newest like progression is, and then I just start to study that. And then if someone's doing it better than someone else, I'll just study their matches or something and just try and figure out what they're doing, and then I'll just start doing that. Like, so it's no one ever in particular, it'll just be the guys at the highest levels. Because like, you know, they're training like all day, every day. So it's like any of us could do it, but we just don't have the time to spend like a whole week at 10 hours a day on like a real specific part of doing a back take. But those guys do that. So you just like watch them, they've already figured it out, just copy it. That's pretty much all I do.
That's really smart actually. Because do you think like figuring it out takes the longest part, and just training the thing that works is way easier? You don't need that much time for it?
Yeah, 100%. Like if you already know, if someone's already weeded out all the bullshit from a technique, say it's like a whatever, just say like a straight foot lock or something like that. Like you could sit there and we could do a specific thing on a straight foot lock for 2 days. Just me and you just sit there, start in straight foot lock, go, see how the best ways to escape, the best ways to submit, repeat. And then those guys are doing that for all the best positions, and then they'll either put out an instructional or you'll see them doing it in competition, and then you just go, well, there's a reason he's doing it this way, copy it, and then you start to do it in the gym and figure out why, and then you can just weed out a lot of time instead of just trying to figure it out yourself. Like you can just
that takes a while, huh?
That's the longest part, is figuring out just how to do something properly in a live situation.
Like when you're trying to do something a certain way, you're like, oh, why would I do it this way? You still have to figure it out because, when your opponent escapes, like, oh, okay, that's why I don't do it this way.
Yeah.
But when you see him do it, it's like, oh, I really have good position here. I have real good control.
Yeah.
So it clicks faster than...
Yeah, you kind of like back engineering it, because you just go, all right, do it this way. There's a reason they're doing it this way. You kind of play with it, and then you do it like a shitter way or a different way, and you're like, oh yeah, you find out, especially when you back engineer it, like you just do it the best way or the way you've seen one of the pros do it, and you just go back from there.
Do you check like what type of body type they have as well, if it correlates with you?
Yeah.
If it would work initially, or just check it out yourself?
I'm pretty lucky because I'm sort of like in that middle weight, so I can kind of do stuff at both ends. Like I'm not a really, really small person. I'm not gigantic, and most people are in that range, so I don't really think too much about it. Obviously, when there's like guys are doing crazy, like people with like massive like long arms and long legs, I just like go, oh yeah, like I don't even bother looking at techniques like that. I know it won't work for me, but yeah, to an extent, I'll be like, I won't do something, or I'll play with it if I like it, or yeah.
Do you adjust it yourself as well then? Because I feel like if I try to do something, I always have to adjust it because I have just an extra 10 centimeters everywhere.
Everywhere. It's always going to be based on body type and like your body, their body. Like you got to play. Like you can only do the theory to a certain point, and then you got to like apply it and figure out how it feels and what it feels on different bodies. And like you still have to drill it. Like you can't just watch a technique, even if it's like the perfect technique, and go, oh yeah, I can just go in there and do it. Like you know what it's like. You get shown the technique, the theory, and then you go to try and do it on someone good, and nothing works, and you're like, well, fuck, this isn't real.
It doesn't work at all. But then you haven't practiced it enough. You haven't
practiced it, so you always got to, and you kind of just figure that out as you go, like whether it is really going to work for you, or if it just doesn't work on certain people, or
yeah. And that visualizing, do you do that as well? Because I found in the beginning I was really closing my eyes, and like the new technique I learned is like, okay, I move that way, I see them move, and then I can sort of feel all my muscles almost doing it without like needing to train. And then when I was going to train, then it was all in position. I could just flow through the movement. Is that part of your training?
Yeah, 100%. I usually do that I usually do it at night, like before, like as I'm going to sleep. There'll be like a technique or something that I think I know, but if I can't like like play it all out in my head, like from beginning to finish, I know I don't really understand it. You know what I mean? Like you can't visualize it perfectly, like every detail. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't really get it. I need to like put some more working, or there's a part I don't understand yet. So I'll do that usually when I'm going to sleep. I'll be like, whatever it is, there's some certain specific thing, and I'll like go step by step by step. And you know, I like a lot of detail, so I'll be like, if there's one little piece I don't know, I'll be like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm meant to do here or something. And it's a good time to like play it through when you're playing it through your head. If you can't like, if it's not really clear, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't understand it yet. I don't. So I'll fix it up to where I can just play it all the way through and be like, yeah, I know every little detail to that. Even though in like a live situation, you never get to do every single little piece like of the detail that like to the extent that I like, because like things happen, shit changes.
Yeah.
But I'm like perfect scenario. I want to be able to play that in my head, like the way it should happen.
I mean, if you have 100% in your head, but you're able in like a rush to do 80% of like the work, then the other person isn't probably doing the defense 100% right either.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's still 20% for like an attack somewhere.
And that's gone on the way I started like thinking about it, because you can just show, especially when I was like now when I'm teaching, I'm like, you can just show something so simply, but it's never going to work on like the best people. Like that's why I'll show, like I could show something in like 3 steps, like an armbar. I could show you 3 steps, but I'd rather show you 20 details. And then like for sure, if I showed it the way, if there's 3 steps, you're going to remember the 3 steps, but anyone good, you'll try and do it on them and it just won't work. I'd rather show like 20 details to the armbar or 30, and then maybe you'll remember 10 of those or 12 of those in your first session, and then it's actually going to start to work. And then the next session you might remember a couple more and a couple more, instead of just remembering 3 shit steps forever. You're just building on that, the 30 details of what you should know about an armbar, and you kind of just add the layers, and that's all it is. Like I rather teach like that. I'd rather teach way more details, and I look around the room and I see people just like, fuck, you can just be like, they're not remembering this, but at least they'll remember 10 or 5 of the good pieces of it, and then they can build on it later.
And they've heard like 17 more pieces than they otherwise would have heard.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, 3, you have your legs over their head and you pull over the hip.
Yeah.
Armbar.
Yeah.
No.
And that's the way I think about it. I don't know if it's the right way, but I feel like that's, for me, I would have way preferred when I started just getting overloaded and being like, holy shit, and then remembering only pieces of it, and then being like, oh, there is more to this. And if you really like the armbar, you just like you build it into like, it could be 100 little details if you really like that. Like for you, the triangle, like in 5 years from now, you're going to know some shit about triangles that people don't know, because you would have done it so much. You know what I mean? Like you'll know more than ever, like more than most.
But yeah, that's interesting. I just got some new information about like an armbar that just clicked in my head so well. Like just how he was talking. He was talking so fast. He was throwing at me so much information. I was like, right. You go over the right. And then when they move, you can hear you grab the leg there. And if you otherwise, and if you open up, you have the thing there.
Who was that?
It was...
just like an online thing.
No. It was at the gym. It was, what's his name? Purple belt as well. Bit lighter guy. He comes in sometimes, I think. He teaches somewhere else.
Liam. Small guy.
Small guy.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he's good.
Good.
Yeah, he's really good.
And his eyes just lighted up when he was talking about the armbar.
Yeah,
I learned this.
Yeah, he loves it. He's like really good technically. Like studies a lot. Like he's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't trained with him much. They train at this place in Palmy. I've got to go there and check it out.
Like in the 2 roles I did with him, he taught me so much. Just giving me like tips, giving me like ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Like so good.
Yeah, he'd be a good teacher. Like he'll be a good coach and stuff for sure.
And I don't know if you have the same, but my brain works pretty quick. So I just like receiving information.
Yeah.
If it's information like that, I want it quick. I was like, go, pop.
Yeah.
And now do it. Like that's if it's words and letters, slow down.
Yeah.
But if it's like technique like that, then
you get to just do it straight away. Like there's no like that's the other reason you can get so good at it, because there's no variables. Like all you need is like a mat or a floor, and you can just practice. Like you can just start doing shit. Like you need another person. It's not like Muay Thai or something where you can practice on a bag but there's not much stopping you from just getting good. Like getting the reps in. And
I mean, there's a reason why those guys in that sort of, I don't know what the name of that gym is, but it's like a gym underground or something, like this whole stinky hole. But like, there were just normal guys training there, but they became so good.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of the gym?
Like the Pedigo guys, like
I think
like the Daisy Fresh guys, like, and they
can be. Yeah, and they just skyrocketed all the competition.
Yeah, and they just started just training, like they just started living in the gym and just training there and just spending all their time. Of course you're gonna get good. Like that's what I mean. Like there's not much stopping anyone from just getting really good if you want to. If you just want to quit everything and just go focus on it.
I mean, sometimes I just think about that. Just like, there are a few things that I like doing, but I can put 6 hours a day aside to just do
you could easily do it. You could easily do it. Like it's
only 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, and I still have enough time to do other things.
Yeah, 100%.
Body can recover in between.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's
exciting.
You could do it. Like there's no reason you can't do it. Like, that's the coolest part.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what's been the thing for you, like to pick up technique and everything? Like what's been the best way you've been learning?
I do the visualization a lot. Like when the technique is like presented, I want to practice it as quick as possible. And then when I get home, I want to go through the whole sequence and I want to add it with sequences I already know. So it's like, this sequence I know from like standing, I go to like guard pull or takedown, I end in this position, and then this new thing that I just learned, okay, I can visualize it and then go into that trend. So I can have this sort of roadmap. I usually have then the starting points both standing, and then everything just like sort of branches off.
Yeah.
And then try to go through all of these scenarios in my head. And sometimes I'm sitting, I'm just feeling the motion, just under, shoulder.
Yeah,
and then the pressure. Yeah, really run through it. And I feel like that helps so much. Yeah. Especially the triangle setup, just my favorite one, just from the close guard. I've practiced that in my head so much that the moment I see that position, it's just and you're there. And it's there, and then I'm already cutting the angle.
Yeah,
and it feels it's. I know there's still perfection there, but I think that visualization is so powerful there.
And it just gets easier too. Like I can just sort of watch something now and then imagine what it would actually feel like, and I feel like you can start to weed out a lot of the time that you would spend in the gym, because you just know what someone's body is going to feel like when you're doing it, and you can just quickly be like, oh yeah, it just gets quicker and quicker. It gets easier to learn. Like that's what I mean by like I still feel like I'm progressing so quick, because it gets easier to see a technique and be like, I get it. I'd be able to do that, or I don't really get it yet, but it just gets quicker. So
this will work. Yeah. Or even like knowing if it works or not.
Yeah.
You just can feel that like, oh yeah, I have pressure, I have control.
Yeah. And then it'll be cool. Like it'll be cool if you do go, and when you come back in a few years, and like the progression, especially if you get to spend time on it, like it'll be sick.
I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, for me that works really well to have that visualization of like, okay, now I'm just going on another journey. Like before, the journey was going from the Netherlands to Australia, and then when I come back, that's cool. It's like the return. But now I'm going to the Netherlands, and the return is going back to Australia.
Yeah. So
it's like now I'm just gonna do my whole journey there. Yeah. Train a shit ton, make some cool videos, and just go from there.
So good. Is that your plan, is to come back? For sure?
So I don't know. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, but my girlfriend is coming along. We have a year visa, and we have plans, we have goals for ourselves, and we'll just see where we go from there. Yeah. But planning too far ahead is like
you don't
not necessary.
Yeah, you don't know what will change. So
yeah,
that'd be awesome. But yeah, if you could stay in contact, if you're doing Euros, I'd love to come watch, and I'd be there for sure. But
awesome,
that'd be cool, because we're definitely going to be doing Europe a couple of times, and I do want to go to Europe again, like middle year, because we want to go obviously snowboarding and stuff. But I do want to go in like the warmer months as well and surf and just do come and do stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's so cool. Have you been to Europe
yet? Yeah, we went. It was like we just saw a photo. It was like 7 or 8 years ago now. But we went and just did a few countries, like did like Italy, France, and then down to Morocco, and then went home from there. But
really cool.
This time, I want to do. We just want to go snowboarding. We don't know where we're going to be, but end of the year.
Cool.
Just do a trip.
I mean, when I hear people talk about all these different gyms that are so good in Europe as well, it makes me excited just to hop on my motorcycle and just go to these different places.
Yeah.
And then see what the culture is, see what the different like styles of training is. Yeah. And maybe because there's a lot of those instructional or like where they teach like this one thing for like a day or something or 2 days, right? That's a big thing in jiu-jitsu. I've never.
What's that?
Like when they do a course on like foot locks or those type of things. Like I've never done that. I've only trained sort of with our gym.
Yeah.
But those type of things.
Yeah.
If there's something on triangles.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah. Oh, you'll be showing them things on that. Like, yeah.
That would be awesome.
And we're going to we go to Tokyo on the 24th, like in a week and a bit. I'm gonna stop at a few gyms there for sure. They train till like 11 o'clock at night, like because it's a Tokyo, so it's just like so many people training, and they work crazy hours and shit. So some of the gyms are open till 11 p.m.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna get some sessions in there, and like
that's so different, huh?
Yeah.
I checked the timetables in the Netherlands as well, and there are still classes starting at 9.
At 9 p.m.
Yeah, in the evening. But
I think it's just because you got like people sort of operate at different times, so it's not that different.
I found it really cool to see though that because the sun comes up earlier here, and just so the whole lifestyle changes to live with the sun essentially, and that makes like everyone that loves doing surfing or like outdoor sports makes this whole area alive in the mornings, and just it's really cool to live.
Yeah. And then what does everyone do back home? Do they just like cruise till?
I mean, usually everything opens at like 9 or 8, so it's a bit later compared to like 5:30 here when the cafes are already open.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. But work times is usually around the same. Like we just wake up when it's really dark. That's just well, it's way nicer waking up with the sun.
Yeah, 100%. It helps you get up. Like even today, I slept in for the first time in ages, and it was just because it was so dark and like with the rain and stuff. It was just like it's good.
It's really nice. Yeah. I think on days when it's, especially the last few weeks when it starts getting a bit like rainier, and then to just get to jiu-jitsu, especially if I live now like an hour away, it feels a bit harder compared to living like 5 minutes from my gym. Yeah. So I've decided when I go to the Netherlands, I'm gonna live in the city because I want to live as close as possible to a gym.
Oh, really? So you're going to go home, like your hometown for a little while,
for a month,
and then go
and then live for myself. With my girlfriend. Yeah. And then just.
Do you know what you're doing for work and stuff yet, or are you just going to work it out?
I worked as a freelancer before last year, so I can just do that still. I can rent myself out for different companies. And, I did a lot for like tree maintenance.
Oh yeah.
And I like being outside, so that's really nice.
Yeah.
But the main focus is going to be just as little work as possible, maybe 4 days, but then maximum 6 hours a day or something. So I have just more time. I don't need that much money to survive. Yeah. It's like so many things in my life were like luxuries that I don't really need. Yeah. Because even with like 30 hours of work or a bit less, I can like fund my life so well. Yeah. I have even a bit money to like invest, like 10% aside, and it just works fine. And then more time for like focus, YouTube, editing, those type of things. Yeah, perfect. And train. And train. Just train. That's it. That's really cool. The training that's gonna be. What is your view? What do you think? What is your goal? You have a big one for jiu-jitsu? No, not really. Man, I've never had like crazy goals with it. I just want to be able to roll with like the best guys. Like when you have like those really good guys coming in, I just want to be able to just like hang with them and spar with them, and just to not get destroyed by them. That's always been my thing. Like, remember when I started it, I'm like, I want to be
able to sort of be at the level where I can like spar and train with black belts. And my goal was like 7 years, because I would see jiu-jitsu and I'm like, oh, it takes like 10. They're like roughly talking about how long it takes to get really good. And I'm like 10 years. I was like, nah, I can do it in 7. I was like, 7 years, I want to be able to like be beating black belts. And then that happened so much quicker than what I thought. It was like a couple of years, of like 2-3 years, and I was already sort of like getting there with like the higher belts. And then now my goal is just get as good as I can while I can train, like spend as much time training and just progress. Like don't back off on spending the time like studying, visualization, like, because it's easy to just go, oh, I'm like good enough and I'm just gonna just rock up to training and train, and like, but it's the work you do like at home, like the visualization, the thinking about what you're going to do when you go back into training. That's what actually helps you get better. Like you've got like like when you go into the gym to train, you've got like some things you're actually specifically going to work on. And it's like, it's a bit hard sometimes because you just want to go in and have fun. Sometimes it's good to just go in, think about nothing and just have fun. But sometimes I'm like, I need specific. You need, purpose. Yeah. So it's just staying on that, like staying on the gas, like staying like keen to keep learning. That's all my goal is at the moment, is get as good as I can with the time.
Do you want to put like a competition on it as well, like a different one that you want to win, or participate in?
I go in as many that I can, like with depending on what I'm doing, like in my life. Like if I could do, I wanted to do like 4 this month, but then I had my elbow, so I pulled out of the one for this weekend, and then next weekend there's one, so I'm going to do that as long as everything's good. And then I think there was one, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be in Tokyo. So I think I'm going to miss it. But I was actually going to look and see if there's any in Tokyo that I can enter if I'm allowed to, and just do it one day.
If I'm allowed to.
No, like if I'm like, I don't know if I can just enter a comp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, no, I thought the girlfriend.
Oh, no, she would just be like, fuck, whatever. She would just go shopping. But if I could, like, I was nearly thinking about having a little look at it, but I'll see if that's going to be.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
So like a crazy different culture, and then just like walking up, and then maybe even being the only white guy there.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so fun.
Sending it.
Because that'd be good. Like that'd be like, there's so many people there, so of course there's going to be some really, really like.
And their work ethic is exceptional.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to even just go and train. But yeah, competitions, like I've never really like. I don't really care that much for the competitions. Like I like doing them, and it's so good for your progression to do it. But I like, all I care about is just getting as good as I can get.
Yeah. Because
like, you know what it's like. You go and you just like go smash a competition, then you go back into like the gym, and then you just get smashed by people in the gym. You're like, what does this all mean? Like, yeah, I just want to be better than as good as I can be.
Yeah. Because the competition is just a one-time like fight, right? Like one submission, you won from that opponent.
Yeah.
Like if we had our wrestle, like our roll we did yesterday, I was like, I should have stopped.
Oh yeah, probably you should have stopped me like on the Netherlands.
After my submission, I was like,
yeah, that's it.
I leave on this one.
Yeah, 100%. But that's what I mean. Like, yeah, the competition's good, and it's good to like have that pressure of like, you can't fuck up, like, because if you do, you can lose. Like you lose by an advantage or a point or something, which is just like that part of the competition I don't like. But it is so good to have that pressure and see what you can actually do under the pressure. And
it's different pressure than just normal training, so it's something that you definitely need to add to the mix of this vehicle to get better at jiu-jitsu.
And you can just go as hard as you want to and not really care about the other person's, like that's what you're signing up for, right? Like really test your technique at full strength, full, like just going full tilt on it. So it's like, that's the fun part too. Like I like being able to just like turn it up and go for it.
Go to the next level.
Not really worry about like hurting someone, or like, it's just, that's fun doing that. But
yeah, I really, to come back to just the thing that you said about like having a purpose when you rock up to the gym. And I think that's, I think that's the most important, because I saw my progress come from that. I wrote down every day things that I wanted to do, and I didn't really care about belts or everything. So I don't mind being a white belt for a longer period of time, whatever.
Yeah.
But my goals were just like, oh, I want to defeat 8 out of 10 blue belts.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was like, okay, what do I need to know? Like,
yeah.
What is working for me? And then every time from there, I would just like visualize, okay, for this class, I'm focusing on these 2 things.
Oh, that's good.
And I think also because we had so many higher belts at our gym, I got really good at regaining my guard. Because I got passed so often, and then I had to like regain to get into a good position.
Yeah.
And that works really well for like competition as well, because so often you get smashed straight away to the ground, and then you regain, and then you go.
Yeah.
So I think that was very important for my journey as well.
Yeah, it's good. That is the best way. You got to go in, especially if you want to just keep progressing. You got to go in with a clear thing on something that you're working on, and just get to that position and like work on it instead of just playing around. Like if you need to be specific as much as you can. Yeah. But like days like yesterday, I rocked in. I just like literally woke up out of bed late and just went straight in. No warm up, just straight into sparring. Like this was like off the street. I was like, I just want to scrap today. Like I've got a competition maybe coming up next weekend. I'm like, just do what I know I want to do in the comp and just not really worry about anything except for just like fucking around. So it's fun doing that as well. And like that's the fun part of it, that you can just play or you can really get specific.
Do you just this is fully back to the first when you started, but do you think that because you started with Jaden and Jackson and you just with your friends essentially started scrapping in the backyard, and that's how you sort of jailbreak this whole first part that usually takes longer to get that essence, like the beginner understanding of jiu-jitsu? You just like went so quick in that first part just because you were practicing with your friends so often.
Yeah, 100%. Like Jaden already was training for like 2 years before we started. Like he was already like pretty much blue belt when we started. So we were like, fuck, we need to catch up. Like Jackson and I were like, we got to get better quicker. And then pretty soon after we started, we bought mats, and then obviously we'd go to the gym where we were training and we would learn certain things, and then we would do our own research and practice our own shit. And then we just saw so quickly that like doing the stuff outside of the gym and just drilling things ourselves, how much quicker we got better than like the group of like white belts or blue belts that were around us. Like when we saw that, like crazy amounts, like how much we progressed, and we're like, all right, we've got to keep doing this. And then we just kept doing that, like kept training in the garage, kept training wherever, and always having sessions lined up just to do something specific. And
because how much time would you think you were training more with like your friends than like doing that?
Not a huge amount, eh? Like maybe at some times we would do like maybe 1 or maybe 2 sessions a week, like outside of it, but probably not even, like probably like 1 a week. But just doing that 1 a week and just doing something out different to what we were doing in the gym, it was like people didn't know what we were doing, so we would like start submitting like the blue belts and then start submitting the purple belts, and like, oh shit, like it wasn't just like what we were shown in that gym. Or we would get shown something and then I'd be like, oh, and go research different ways to do that thing. Like for you with a triangle, like you could get shown, I could show you some shit with a triangle that I like, and then you go, oh, I'd go research the triangle myself, and then you would find all this other shit and be like, oh, this is like better, I like this better, or this, and then you can just do that instead of the thing you're shown. And sometimes we would get like, not in trouble, but they would be like the coaches and stuff, they could tell that we were definitely doing other shit somewhere else, and they're like, what's going on? And we're just like, yeah, we train by ourselves, like this is, and they couldn't say much because we were like just getting better than like the other group of people. So that's definitely what progressed. And it wasn't like a huge amount, it was literally like I reckon 1 session a week, but it was just enough to just drill something enough to like, you just get that little bit of progression, you're like, okay, we can move on. But we get that little thing, let's move.
And do you think that because you got your information not only from one source, that helped as well? Because otherwise you just have this one-sided way of thinking about jiu-jitsu if you only learn at one gym, right?
Yeah, you should go it doesn't even have to be another. I mean, it could be another gym. It could be just online, or like there's so much information now about out there. Like you could just YouTube it if you want. You don't even need for like paid instructionals and shit. You could just having that information helps so much. Like what was like where you get it from, or
Yeah, like let's say I've only been training at one gym, but if I also start researching my own stuff, train outside, maybe even visit some other open mats, like compared to all the other white belts that only train, walk up like to the same class as I do, but without all of the extra stuff, that's just going to get like exponential growth difference.
It's doing the work. It's doing and thinking about it and doing the workout. Like a lot of people they just want to do like the little session or couple of sessions they do through the week is just, they don't really care about like getting really, really good at jiu-jitsu. They're more just like want a bit of exercise and want a bit of this and that. And then they're only going to progress very slowly and only get to a level like that's not very good at all. That's like, but that's fine. Like that's just someone who's just doing it for themselves or whatever reason. But as soon as you start doing some work outside of the gym, like whether it's visualization, searching techniques, it's like, and you compare that to someone that you've been training with or started with who doesn't do any of that, I don't know, there might be some people you've seen that are on that level. You just progress like ridiculously.
I mean, if I look at the three guys that I think that are really good, that is like Jack and then James, and then I think I'm in there as well. I think those we are pretty, like they started earlier than I did, and I felt that I had to really catch up. Yeah, because they had already that sort of foundation going.
Yeah, but you'll even see it with like some of the higher belts that you train with. Like maybe they used to just like smash you in a certain position, and then now you roll with them, and you're like, oh, they can't really get me here anymore. And that's not because they're getting worse. It's just because you got so much better, so much quicker, and they're not trying to get better. They're not really thinking about, oh, why can Tom regard now? Like, why is he getting everything back onto the inside? Why is he doing this? They're not really thinking. They're just kind of like losing and being like, oh, fuck, I'm just trying harder, but it's not going to work. It's just because they're not doing the work outside. Maybe they've been training for 7 or 8 years, but they've just been training 7 or 8 years, only training inside the gym, not training outside the gym.
And just walk up every day. Rock up at the same time.
Yeah, which is like, that's good, but it's just not enough if you really want to like progress.
I think to add on that, the main thing that I think that helped my progress is, regardless if I win, lose, or just nothing really happened, I asked, what can I do better? Doesn't matter if they're better or worse than me. Because everyone has a slight tip. They have a different perspective to how I was moving. And I've been getting so many sort of small like things that I could do different, because they see like, oh, I could escape there. And I'm like, oh, you should have done this there. Oh. Yeah. And that just sort of, that's really that white belt mentality of like, oh, I don't know shit. Please tell me more. You probably know something I don't.
Yeah. For sure. It's just remembering shit too, especially when you lose. Like competition's good for that, because you remember, like it's hard to forget, especially if you lose in a competition. You're like, fuck, I remember that. And you learn so much. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
But it's in the gym, if you can remember why, even if you didn't get submitted or anything, even if you just lost a position. Like now, if I lose a position or someone off balances me, I'm like, I remember that. I'm like, fuck, why was that not working? And it's like remembering things that you fuck up in the gym, and then just like addressing it, being like, why, how can I fix this one little thing? That so it's also not just remembering techniques, but remembering like training sessions and then fixing bits. That's why it's so good to record, but we don't record much in our gym.
Not that much.
We should start. Like I do want to start.
Yeah,
because then you don't need it. You can just rewatch it and
It's like, why did I get smashed there again?
Like,
if I feel shoulder pressure against my jaw 5 times in a row, I'm like, oh, I definitely do something wrong.
Yeah, it's like that. But yeah, we should. I really want to start like recording like all of our sparring sessions, just to like study it, because you do so much shit you don't really realize, or things don't look right and you're off balanced. And
I mean, next level stuff, then you're getting there. Because then it's going to be the smaller adjustments that will lead you to like maybe something you've always been doing and then you never figured out because you never saw yourself doing it.
Yeah.
And then I've noticed like, so obvious.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. I think we can wrap up around here. But do you, if someone wants to find you or send you a question or something, do you have some Instagram people can like find you?
Yeah, it says Cougs. Cougs is my Instagram. That's probably the only thing I really use. I don't use it a lot, but
Cougs?
Cougs, I don't know.
How do you
I
spell
think it's
that?
like K. I think there's 4 or 5 O's. GS.
4 or 5 O's.
4 or 5 O's.
Check him out if you have some questions for Cougar. Then check out his Instagram. And thank you guys for watching. This was epic. It was a really cool conversation, Cougar.
Yeah.
I really loved having you here, especially because I just love talking about like jiu-jitsu and using Australian word. I'm frothing it. Like, and just having like even your eyes, like you light up when you talk about this thing, and just that feels great. Like I'm so excited to just have this journey. I'm still like at the start, and I know how much more there's like to like enjoy, and it's cool to see how far you can get. And when I come back, you're probably a brown belt. So I'll see how we can roll in a year from now.
Yeah, 100%.
How that goes. It could be cool.
Yeah, can't wait. It'll
Awesome.
be good. Yeah,
Thanks, bro. Thank you for watching the Journey to Life podcast. On my podcast, I talk with amazing people that tell their life story and share their knowledge. I upload every week, so if you want to check out another podcast, then click here in the corner, and I'll see you there.